Well, hello, everybody. It's Dr. Hank, and welcome to the Dr. Hank Show. And gosh, you know what we do here. We help you to be, do, and have more of your dreams coming true. And we have the experts around the world, really, that can help us do that. And one thing that has always been, and why I'm independently wealthy, is because of passive income. And my guest today, who is a medical doctor and but also an entrepreneur, is a man that really has honed in and has all the systems and everything for you to be able to invest passively and have passive income. So let me introduce to you Pranay. And Pranay, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Hank. It's such an opportunity.
Yeah, well, you're just really amazing that I know you've been a medical doctor for years, and while you were a medical doctor, you realized that, that a lot of professionals, a lot of people overall just don't have expertise in how money works and how investments work. And so tell us a little about how you got into commercial multifamily properties and how we can enjoy some of that passive income.
Yeah. So, when I graduated, I had a pretty good salary, but I didn't really know a ton about money.
No.
And I did see, people like yourself who've been doing very well in real estate. So I thought, how hard could it be? Let me try to figure it out myself. So I bought my first property, 4 units. They tell you to buy as many units as you can. And I got super lucky. It's in Long Beach, it's closer to water. And I was like, okay, I could do this. I could buy one a year. And I spent hundreds of hours looking for my next property. And it just took up so much time that I got kind of sad about it, that I was wasting all this time when I could have been working and making money. So that's how I found passive real estate. I realized that I could get, 98% of the benefits with 2% of the work. And at the time, there wasn't a ton of good education. So we created a course teaching people, and mostly doctors, how to invest in real estate, passive real estate,
Okay.
including syndications, commercial real estate. And we thought we were done, like you, we were educating people, helping get their dreams, but they realized after they took our course, they're like, yeah, we understand all that, but we're still too busy. We want you to do it. So
Uh,
we came together. We had been doing our own deals, at our own investments as not just a normal person, but they said, hey, if we put all our money together with you, maybe you can get better deals. And that's how we started. And now we're able to buy whole properties by ourselves.
yeah, and that's Accent Equity Group. So you actually
Mhm.
have in fact, for those that want to learn more and be on the newsletter that Prama has agreed to with his own personal email, and that is Pranay, and then at Accent, and it's ASCENT, equitygroup.com. And you can email him and get on his newsletter. He's lots of resources. In fact, so I love your Passive Real Estate Academy, and it's a great academy. And that's still up and running, right?
That is correct.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you can still go to that. And can you tell us a little about that Passive Real Estate Academy and what that's about?
Yeah, so that's the course we created to teach people how to invest in real estate, and it's a 4-week course. It takes you from not knowing anything about real estate. I'm not talking about nothing, to being able to confidently find and vet deals and invest in them. And the best part is after that, you get part of our alumni organization we call Platinum Investor Club, and
Okay.
where we look at deals together, we find deals, we get better terms. And, it's all just to help people. Even though I do my own deals,
Yeah,
as long as people are getting into good deals, I'm happy. I don't need
yeah.
people to necessarily get into good deals, but it hurts my soul when someone has take their hard-earned money, puts it into a deal that doesn't have as high chance of a success, because
Yeah.
you're working hard for this money, you deserve a good return.
Yeah, and that's why I love you on, you really are. You got lots of heart and willing to help other people to do it, and if you're in the deal or not or whatever, that, you're there to be able to have everybody win and with your expertise, you can have them. So basically that Passive Real Estate Academy be a great way. And is it mainly focused on the commercial then, multifamily properties?
We do. So, for us, there's tons of ways to be successful in real estate. What
Yeah.
we're really niched down on is the way to do it where you can scale. If I have 10 investments, I could have 100 and it's about the same amount of effort, and it's a little
Yeah.
bit different than buying residential.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Love it. And then from there with the Accent Equity Group, that how does that work as far as, so like, is kind of the steps to do the Passive Real Estate Academy first, and then to if you want to have a lot of knowledge about it, and then jump in, or I think you had said earlier you could actually just not even go to the course and you guys do all the work. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah, so there's kind of two types of investors I found.
Okay.
The one that wants to, well, three. The one that wants to do everything themselves, and we don't cater to that. You can go
Yeah.
out and do it yourself. That's great. The person that wants to understand everything but not do it themselves, and the person that doesn't really care that much and just wants a good investment. So for the person that wants to understand, they can take the course and then invest with us. But I
Okay.
find the majority of doctors, they already, you can only be a subject matter expert on so many things, and they
Yeah. SME. Very
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they,
Yeah.
they've seen what we do. We have a blog, we have a podcast, we have all this stuff. So they understand and they've trusted us, and they've seen, thousands of other people invest with us. So then they say, hey, I'm ready for an investment, and those people can go directly, or people that want to understand, they can take the course. And
Yeah.
there's people in the middle. We try to have a lot of education through Ascent as well.
Oh, okay, cool. And you're the first, by the way, medical doctor that has ever said SME and subject matter expert. And so that tells us also that you do know, business and marketing and how to do that. So good for you. And we should all be a subject matter expert in what we're doing, and only keep it limited. And that's why, again, we would have you pretty much to help us to on the commercial multifamily. What type of investment typically do you require to get involved with the Accent Equity Group, and typically what type of return? Like, can you tell us a little about, or maybe some experiences that some of your clients have had?
Yeah, so we are based in the US. We take only investors in the US for now. And it's something called accredited investor. And, this is going to sound strict, but this is because of the government, right? They make us go through this. So you
Yeah.
have to be an accredited investor, which means you make $200,000 per year for 2 years,
Okay.
or $300,000 per year for 2 years as a couple. You
Uh-huh.
have either that, or you have a net worth over $1 million,
Okay.
not including your primary residence. And then
Okay.
third, and this is new, this happened last year, you can
Oh,
take a couple financial tests, and the Series 65, Series 7. And for your highly educated listeners, I'm sure they could
yeah.
pass this test very easily.
Yeah.
And so yeah, those are the ways. So if they're an accredited investor,
Okay.
and returns are kind of, it's varying in returns right now. Interest rates are eating away at our returns.
Yeah.
Got to be honest.
Yeah.
But we usually aim for high teens returns. But
Okay.
now with and that's after all fees, after everything, that's money in your
Yeah.
pocket.
Right.
But now with interest rates, it's probably mid-teens.
Yeah. And see, I'm sure most of all of you know that that's a heck of a return, because if you're in the stock market, that I think it was 2 years ago, or a year ago, the stock market made 20%, and now they're down 22 or some percent. So in 2 years, you're kind of flat, if you will. And now historically, the stock market, continues to always grow, but so does real estate. And so if you can get a real estate, if you can get anything, in fact, the average and just person that invested like their retirement, that they're making about 5% return. They net out about 5%. So you're talking about doubling, tripling what most people make on their investment. So that's darn good. And even with the interest rate situation. And how does that fluctuate? Because like, when interest rates go up, how quickly are you hit by that, or what's the effect of the interest rate on your business, your
Yeah,
return?
so interest rate risk is very important. And when your listeners are looking at deals, it's
Yeah.
really important to kind of dig into a little bit of the debt.
Mm.
So, for commercial real estate, you're able to buy something called a cap, which basically it's an insurance policy. It's saying that your interest rate won't get above X or Y or Z, and so we always buy that. So we go in, and commercial real estate, that's a nice thing. It's all about numbers, it's
Yeah.
all about predictions, and it's different than residential, because residential, it's a lot more emotional. There's us investors
Yeah.
that are focused on numbers, but you're
Yeah.
competing versus maybe someone that wants to buy the house, right? Or they
Yeah.
love it or something. So
Right.
we're able to hedge against that,
Mm.
and I recently sent out an email talking about do you remember in the 80s and 90s we'd see that commercial about the complete breakfast or a balanced breakfast, and for some
Yeah.
reason they'd include this bowl of sugar, which we call a cereal, right? And so
I
I'm
think they're
saying
still doing
they're
that.
still doing it, right? Yeah, yeah. And so normally a complete portfolio, right, would be
Yeah.
stocks and bonds, right?
Mm.
And when
Yeah.
one supposedly the historical evidence is when stocks go down, bonds go up. But right now they're both down 25%,
Right.
and I would say that it'd be good to have some real estate because that kind of balances that out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And real estate has always gone up and will always continue to go up. Again, similar to the stock market, if you do the more long term, but you can pretty much guarantee again with your investment that, you're going to be making the teens, whatever, which again is a lot better. And it actually seems a little, it's just like, as human beings, we need, a place to live. We need a place to work. It's just, you have to have that. And even though, Elon is looking at Mars, that's going to be in our lifetime.
Yeah, I bought some Peloton stock in
Cool.
2020 and it was doing very well. Now it's not doing so well. And
Yeah, yeah,
it's a luxuries, right? But you're right,
yeah,
exactly. People need a place to live. And what
yeah.
happens when mortgage rates go up? People who were saving up for a house can't buy a house anymore, and then they
Right,
decide to stay longer in their apartment. That's what we
right.
invest in, apartments.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, yeah. And then typically, how many doors do you look at?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is a great question. So we typically look at 150 plus, and
yeah,
that's because you want to have your property manager, you want them to be in the building and live there, so they can
yeah.
handle things that go wrong all the time. So
Mhm.
typically 2 to 300 is what we look at.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That I have another commercial and more on the commercial side and not apartments, but they're looking for typically like 80 doors. So I like the comfort level, and you basically get the scale of economies. Economies of scale with, and then what you're doing even more so. And I like the idea about them living living where they're managing, they're living what they're managing, and that's
Yep.
just a great. And of course, we all know that there's a shortage of homes, and apartments are booming now. And what's your typical occupancy rate?
Yeah, we're in the anywhere from the high 80s to the mid 90s. And, you know, before I really got into this, I would say, oh, mid 80s, that's bad, you know? But when you're going in, it's good to have some vacancy, meaning
Oh,
some empty apartments, because you can go in and renovate it, right?
yeah.
If you had it fully occupied all the time, you wouldn't be able to go in and renovate. And that's what we do. We go in, we renovate, we make it nicer, and we increase rents.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I know that I live in the DFW area, and 2 bedrooms going for $2,400, a month.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like you say, a lot of people have been kind of shut out of the real estate opportunity to buy a home and the American dream. And so they have to live someplace. And so you give them a nice home, and apartment living that I actually, I enjoy some of the benefits of apartment living on it. You don't have those unforeseen costs that could arise, and a new air conditioner or whatever. And so a lot of things that are taken care of, so there are benefits on both ways. But I love the commercial. And then the last thing I'd like to talk about is I just love your podcast, from MD to entrepreneur. And that's exactly what you are. You were doing being a medical doctor full time, and kind of going through the ups, downs, and now you really have developed the systems and the automation to do it. And tell us a little about from MD to entrepreneur, and what are some, because pretty much everybody listening to this is an entrepreneur, and so what would you say are some key points to be a successful entrepreneur?
Yeah, Dr. Hank, we are in a new age, a new time where you got to create your own brand, and you're the perfect example, right? You can be, just a PhD, and you could be doing the academic flywheel, having to do research and, at the whims of everyone else.
Yeah,
Or you can have a brand, Dr. Hank, right? And people are saying, oh, hey, we want Dr. Hank. Like we can't let go of him. We need to keep him. He brings in people. And you
yeah,
don't have to be held to all the other standards other people do. How many
yeah.
students are you talking to? How much research are you doing? And even in medicine, what has happened, unfortunately, for most jobs is you become a cog, right? You become easily replaceable. And Seth Godin talks about being a linchpin. And so not only do you want to be a linchpin, but you also want to diversify your identity. And that's not as many people are talking about that. But when you become a doctor, when you become a doctorate like yourself, you align yourself so much with a specific identity, but you don't know, like, for example, my dad told me to go into medicine because people always get sick, right? And that was true. But they actually cut down our hours during COVID in the beginning, certain specialties like surgery, they weren't doing any surgery. So how do
Right.
you pay your mortgage? How do you do all this stuff? And you
Wow.
got to have something else. And I think business, real estate, whichever, is
Yeah.
such a great supplement. It doesn't have to replace it. For some people, it replaces it, and that's great.
Yeah.
But imagine if you had, $5,000 to $10,000 extra coming in every month, and then you could maybe work 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or even if you work full time, you can maybe not do certain things that you hate, right? Or you could farm it out, delegate. So I
Yeah.
think entrepreneurship, I think real estate is great. And there's not a ton of resources from our viewpoint, the
Yeah.
highly educated. A lot of it is from people that are bootstrapping, which is great, but I have more. I don't have a ton of time. I have a little money, but not a ton of time. So how do I use that little money to amplify the time that I have? And so, I
Yeah.
like to think I have a unique perspective in trying to help people. And that's the goal, to get them successful and to help them really create the life that they want.
Well, I love it, Pranay, that you really have a great perspective on that, and I love on how you're helping people to. Yeah, the entrepreneur life is a life for sure to be, and I'm doing a new program. It's actually going to be a 17th book of mine too, but it's called Channeling with Divine Intelligence, and another kind of subtitle is with God. And, it really gets into, and things that you just mentioned there on freedom, that, we want this freedom, and we all actually have the freedom to think and to do what we want. And it's great to, like on your show, From MD to Entrepreneur, for people to really realize there's another life out there for people, that they can really go out and do and have what they want. And you certainly have demonstrated that. Well, with that, is there anything in closing you'd like to share with us?
No, I love that program of yours, because all of us have a little calling on the inside, and it's that little, maybe you're tired, you're feeling restless. And I love the idea that, maybe it is divine for those of us that are religious. And, we've spent so much time drowning out that voice that maybe it's just a whisper,
Yeah.
but listen to it a little bit, and, listen to your podcast, take a course, and find something that makes you feel alive. And it might even be your calling as well. So I just want to leave that with your listeners, that listen to that a little bit.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I always say, a couple things on that, like if you're in a foxhole, in the military and at war, that everybody in the foxhole believes in God, them.
Yeah.
And another way to look at that is that, we all have within our DNA God, whether we want to like it or not. And there's a way to connect with that. And I can tell that, you've connected with that, and you're doing your passion and really enjoying it, and inspiring people to be, do, and have more. So remind everybody again how to get a hold of you, my friend.
Yeah. So people can email me directly. I always answer all my emails. Pranay, Pranay at ascentequitygroup.com. And that's ASCENT equitygroup.com. That's also our website, ascentequitygroup.com.
That's just fantastic. Well, wonderful. We thank you so much, Pranay, for being on the show today. And for all of you out there that, get into this, just know that there are some other opportunities that you can get into. And Pranay has really it all, that, information about on how to get into the commercial real estate. He can do it for you, or you can do a little a mixture of all. And he's got a great newsletter for you, and so some ways for you really to enjoy that passive income and that freedom. And that's one of our soul's purposes, to have more freedom, and he can deliver it to you. So thanks so much. Appreciate you being a guest on our show, Pranay. And to all of you, know that you can be, do, and have everything that you want, and you have the power to do that with your all-powerful thoughts and feelings. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.